His war in Iraq has left many scars on both sides of the conflict, but an ongoing problem for the U.S. military is the increasing number of sexual attacks on fellow soldiers serving overseas. In an exclusive interview, RT's Marina Portnaya spoke to an Iraqi veteran who claims she was assaulted twice whilst on her tour of duty.
According to the U.S. Pentagon, 1 in 3 female soldiers are raped or sexually assaulted while serving in the military. That statistic is troubling enough, but we are about to hear firsthand facts from a victim courageous enough to come forward and tell her story. Sandra Lee is an Army sergeant who served 8 years with the military. Thank you very much for sitting down to speak with me.
You're welcome.
It was in 2004 that you were deployed to Iraq for a 1-year tour. You were rebuilding schools in the middle of a war zone, and during that time, you yourself became a victim. Can you share with me what happened and how it happened?
Well, it was towards the end of my deployment, just a couple of months before we were getting ready to go home. And it was in the evening, at night. Somebody I knew who'd frequented my, where I was a lot. So it was no big deal to let that person in to where I was living, because they'd come over before, we'd chat. We built a rapport, a relationship, a friendly relationship, over the past year that I'd been there. Started out normal, just basic conversation, how our days were going, But then he started talking about what I deem as inappropriate, just being flirtatious, I guess, which had never occurred before, and that's not something that I did with this person, or anybody really for that matter, while I was there.
After the conversation, how did it escalate?
Well, he had asked me, had I ever thought about, it's ridiculous. He asked me if I thought about ever dating him. We're in the middle of Iraq. No, that was my reaction. That was what I said. And it just kind of started from there. There's a lot after that from that night that I don't remember.
Did he knock you? Did he knock you unconscious?
No, it's just that I think that I was in such shock that this was happening. I do remember parts of it, but I couldn't tell you sequentially what happened from moment to moment.
You do remember that you said no to him and that you tried to fight him off?
Yes.
Did anyone hear you guys?
I don't think so. I had a room to myself. There were these trailers that had 3 rooms in the one trailer, but each had a separate door from the outside. So that was my living quarters. I lived by myself.
And you say this happened to you twice? Same person?
Same person.
When did the second attack take place?
About 2 weeks later. The second time, this person had brought someone else with him. So I thought, okay, it's someone I knew, so it was okay. And I hadn't let him in my room, it was just at the door. But he was higher ranking than the other person, made that person go away, and since I had already opened the door, he just made his way in. And that was at night, so there was nobody around.
Why didn't you report anything?
I had a job to do. I didn't have time or the mental capability to even deal with something like that. When you're in the position that I was in and the job that I was doing, you're on alert 24/7. I wasn't one of those soldiers who stayed behind. I was out every single day, all day long, sometimes at night. If I had allowed myself to think about it, deal with it, I don't think I would have been able to make it.
But you are speaking out now. Last month, you were in Times Square, microphone in hand, telling your story. Why are you speaking out now, so many years later?
It's because I'm tired. I'm tired of pretending that it never happened. I want my normal life back, and I feel that because I've been silent for so many years, that if I don't do it now, I'm not going to be able to move on with my life. And speaking about it, I believe it's the starting of my healing process.
From those that I've spoken with before this interview, I've been told that the military in general sweeps these problems underneath the rug.
That's probably another reason why I didn't say anything either. They don't like to address the problems, even though at times they cause them, because it's too much work. I don't know. I mean, I know when I redeployed back to the U.S., we did like a post-health assessment screening. Everyone did. And they ask you questions about your mental health. Do you have nightmares? Do you startle easily? Things like that. I marked yes to everything. But did anyone contact me? Did anyone see why I was feeling these things? No. All we were given was a card with a phone number on it. If you have any questions, here, give them a call. And at the time, I didn't know what was going on. I just knew that I was angry. I'd be irritable and depressed and sad and scared all the time. I think it's a matter of an image that they want to protect, perhaps.
You've mentioned that it's been a struggle for you to get support within the military and from the VA system. And is this just therapy?
This includes therapy, it includes medication, it includes benefits, monthly benefits received, outside support in order to get these things accomplished, because it's expected that you know how the system works already, and you're supposed to know what papers to fill out, who to go to answer whatever questions you have, and nobody knows. And once I started in the VA system, and this was 2 years after I had already returned, an officer was talking to me, and they knew that something wasn't right, and they asked if I had registered with the VA system, and I said no, I didn't know that I could. I mean, I didn't consider myself a veteran. My image of a veteran is Vietnam, World War II. It wasn't until last year, in 2008, where I was connected with organizations like the DAV, Disabled American Veterans. They helped me get my benefits raised so that I could focus on therapy instead of having to work full-time and live my crazy life as it was. But even still, it's taken until this year, actually only a few months ago, to get my full benefits.
Since you have not reported what has happened to you, obviously thus far there can't be any kind of prosecution. Do you know other female soldiers that have made reports and yet the attackers have not been prosecuted?
I do. And I know in their cases, at least 2 of them, they just don't care anymore because it's such a struggle and a fight that they can't fight by themselves.
And the military is dragging their heels, essentially?
They drag their heels on everything that has anything negative to do with them. What they're trying to do to me right now is discharge me with an other than honorable discharge.
Why?
I asked to be put in the IRR, the Inactive Ready Reserve, last year because I knew I just couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't go to my drills every month, be in that uniform, see myself. It just reminded me of everything, and I couldn't do it. They were supposed to start a medical board so I could get medically retired because my plan was to become an officer and keep going in the reserves because I liked what I did. I was proud of what I did. Well, not anymore. They didn't put me in the IRR. They didn't start a medical board. They had all these expectations of me of what I was supposed to do in order to get these accomplished, but I did not have the capability to do that. The mental capacity to sit there and figure out for myself what I needed to do. So to them, I'm basically AWOL for the past year, and they're trying to just shove me away. As a soldier, I excelled Every school that I went to, I was the distinguished honor grad, recognized for all my efforts. And now they think that I'm nothing. The Army thinks that I am worth nothing. But at this point, I don't even care. I'm so tired of fighting, trying to just live my life as normally as possible, that I just can't fight this one more thing. And if they have to give me an other than honorable discharge, then whatever. I know that's not what I deserve, but I'm just so tired of fighting.
What would you say to females who come to you and say, I want to join the Army?
I'm a bit conflicted. I have a love-hate relationship with the military. On the one hand, it has given me many opportunities to travel, to experience things I've never experienced before, to be a part of history, which is why I originally joined, because I wanted to make a mark in this world and make a difference in my lifetime. But at the same time, with what happened to me and many others, the only thing I could say is to be careful, especially as a female. These attacks, what I've discovered is indiscriminate. There's no typical person that it happens to. It happens to anybody and everybody. So I would say to be careful, to be aware of your surroundings, to have that awareness with you at all times while you're serving, because it can happen. And even if you think you're strong, you could fight back. It doesn't happen that way.